Maine Representative Laurel Libby, as well as ambassador for the Independent Women's Forum and former D1 athlete Lene Saltz. Great to have you both with us this morning. Representative, I'll start with you. So this is a lawsuit from the administration filed against your state's education department. How are the people of Maine feeling about this?
The people of Maine do not support Governor Mills' reckless decision here to continue to allow biological males in girls' sports and to continue to discriminate against Maine women and girls. They want to see this end. Polling shows that very clearly. 2/3 of Mainers do not want biological males participating in girls' sports. And so they would like to see common sense prevail, our governor back down, and our funding be restored.
Yeah, Lene, I mean, you've been fighting this issue for a really long time. I mean, in 2020, you raced a biological male at an NCAA D1 track meet. I mean, how did it feel to stand by the Attorney General as she made this announcement, finally looking into the things that you lived and dealt with every day?
It was liberating, yes, but it also is kind of a joke to think that 6 years after I brought this to the NCAA to bring attention to this issue, to explain that women and girls all across the country, not only at the collegiate level, but at the state and local level as well, are being displaced, yet we still are here. AG Bondi said it eloquently yesterday. She does not want to sue anybody, but they're basically putting her hand to the fire by not complying with President Trump's executive order that he signed, not complying with federal law. So as exciting as it was to be there to see someone fighting for us at the forefront of this issue, it shouldn't have to be this way.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have taken 6 years, as you said. And Representative, your state's governor, Janet Mills, as we played that lovely clip a few minutes ago, has been loudly fighting against President Trump. And your fellow Democratic colleagues have tried to silence you in the past as well. But do you see any chance that they now maybe come around and get behind this administration's Title IX protection, especially now that money is on the table, federal funding is at stake?
We need that federal funding very desperately. Our state is already $500 million in the hole going into this next biennium. We'll see if the Democrats are as dug in as our governor is, because we have multiple bills coming forward this legislative session to deal with this very issue. The fact that they've dragged their feet on scheduling public hearings and moving this legislation forward, I think is an indicator of what we're going to see, and that this legislation will not prevail, and that this issue is going to have to play out in court if we're going to see a fair, safe, and level playing field for Maine girls.
Yeah, Representative, I mean, I know I hear a bunch of the left are just losing their minds over this idea, but it's not uncommon. I remember back in the maybe 70s, early 80s, the federal government wanted states to raise their drinking age. They said if you didn't raise it to 21, we're cutting off your transportation funding. That's how they do things. They tie all their money to certain elements, and in this case, Maine's not doing it.
This is not a new concept. Our own Secretary of State highlighted that just recently in talking about our Real ID policy in our state, stating that federal law trumps state law, and when they conflict, that we have to abide by federal law. This is not new, and if we want to have the federal funds that we need for education, then we are going to need to comply and ensure that Maine girls are not being discriminated against.
Yeah, great point. And Lene, I know that during her announcement yesterday, the Attorney General said, quote, "I don't care if it's 1, I don't care if it's 2, I don't care if it's 100. It's going to stop, and it's going to stop in every single state." And the left is really focused on it only being 1 or 2 incidents where, a female athlete gets injured by a biological male athlete. But she's right, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't even be 1. It should be none. What's your response?
I completely agree. I think that 1 is too many. And it's not just 1 athlete. It's the hundreds of thousands of girls that this is affecting. We just look at Maine. I believe that there's 23,000 female athletes at the high school level in the state of Maine. Every single one of those women are being affected by this decision of Governor Mills allowing them to compete in the state of Maine. So even though we see maybe 1 or 2, every single woman and girl is affected, and it's a safety concern, and it needs to be stopped.
Lene, Laurel, thank you both so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.